The landscape of laptop hardware is currently undergoing a seismic shift as Intel enforces stringent new requirements. These mandates are specifically designed for the upcoming Panther Lake architecture, which promises to redefine mobile performance. To maintain the coveted ARC branding on their integrated graphics, original equipment manufacturers face a difficult choice. They must now integrate ultra-fast memory modules that meet specific, high-bandwidth thresholds mandated by the silicon giant. Intel is effectively drawing a sharp line in the silicon, threatening to strip premium branding from any laptop. Any machine that fails to hit these rigorous performance targets will lose its prestigious, market-leading identity instantly. This move is carefully designed to ensure that the ARC label remains synonymous with high-tier gaming capabilities. It also protects the brand's reputation for professional creative tasks, ensuring that excellence remains the primary focus. Intel refuses to let the ARC label be diluted by lackluster hardware implementations that compromise the user experience. For manufacturers, the pressure is mounting daily to optimize their thermal and memory designs with extreme precision. They must innovate rapidly to avoid the dreaded generic classification that now looms over their future product lines. This strategic pivot serves as a stern warning to the entire industry regarding Intel's new, uncompromising vision. The company is no longer willing to let subpar configurations ride the coattails of their most powerful technology. Engineers are scrambling to rework cooling solutions and memory pathways to meet these demanding new technical standards. Every single component must now contribute to a cohesive, high-performance system that justifies the premium ARC badge. The era of unchecked hardware variety is coming to a close as Intel tightens its iron-fisted control. OEMs are finding that their previous designs are suddenly obsolete under these new, strict, performance-based architectural guidelines. They must prove that their hardware can sustain the high throughput required for modern, intensive software applications. Failure to comply means losing the marketing advantage that the ARC logo provides in a saturated, competitive market. Consumers are watching closely, expecting that the presence of the ARC logo guarantees a superior computing experience. Intel is betting that this curation will elevate the entire ecosystem, pushing manufacturers toward higher quality standards. The silicon giant believes that consistency is the key to maintaining dominance in the evolving laptop landscape. By setting these thresholds, Intel is effectively forcing a technological evolution that benefits the end user significantly. The stakes are incredibly high, as the branding war threatens to reshape the hierarchy of laptop manufacturers. Smaller firms may struggle to keep up with these requirements, potentially leading to a consolidation of power. Larger OEMs are already investing heavily in research to ensure their flagship models remain within the ARC. This shift represents a fundamental change in the power dynamic between Intel and its hardware manufacturing partners. Intel is no longer just a component supplier. They are now the arbiter of what constitutes premium hardware. The industry must adapt or face the consequences of being relegated to the entry-level, generic market segment. As Panther Lake approaches, the tension in the boardrooms of major laptop manufacturers continues to rise steadily. Executives debate the cost of high-speed memory versus the potential loss of the prestigious ARC branding. The financial implications of retooling entire production lines are daunting for companies operating on thin margins. Yet, the alternative is to ship devices that lack the performance credentials demanded by modern power users. Intel's strategy effectively turns the ARC logo into a gatekeeper for high-end consumer laptop sales worldwide. If a laptop lacks the required memory bandwidth, it is relegated to the generic graphics tier immediately. This designation is the PC equivalent of a participation ribbon from a fourth-grade track and field event. It signals to the buyer that the hardware inside is merely functional rather than truly high performance. The branding war is not just about aesthetics. It is about defining the baseline for modern computing. Intel intends to ensure that every ARC-labeled device delivers a consistent, high-fidelity experience for the user. By enforcing these rules, they prevent the dilution of their brand in a crowded, often confusing market. Manufacturers are now forced to prioritize performance over the convenience of cheaper, slower memory component choices. The shift toward faster memory is a necessary evolution to support the complex, data-heavy tasks of tomorrow. Panther Lake is the catalyst for this change, setting a new bar that all competitors must meet. The industry is watching to see which OEMs will successfully navigate these turbulent, new regulatory waters successfully. Those who fail will find their products sidelined. unable to compete with the certified high-performance ARC machines. Intel remains steadfast, believing that this strict curation is essential for the long-term health of PCs. The days of loose branding and vague performance promises are rapidly disappearing into the rearview mirror today. Innovation is now a requirement, not an optional feature for those seeking the premium ARC market label. Every laptop motherboard must be redesigned to accommodate the increased power and speed of the new architecture. Thermal management systems are being overhauled to ensure that performance does not throttle under heavy, sustained loads. This is a total transformation of the laptop ecosystem, driven by Intel's uncompromising vision for future hardware. The branding war is the battlefield where the future of mobile computing performance is being decided daily. Consumers will ultimately benefit from this push, as even entry-level systems will see a baseline performance increase. The gap between generic graphics and ARC-certified hardware will become increasingly apparent in real-world software performance tests. Intel is betting that this clear distinction will drive consumer preference toward their high-performance, certified hardware solutions. The pressure on OEMs is immense, but the potential rewards for meeting these standards are equally significant. Market dominance is the ultimate goal for both the silicon giant and its loyal, high-performing manufacturing partners. As the release date nears, the industry prepares for a new era of strictly regulated, high-performance laptops. The era of the participation trophy is ending, replaced by a new standard of excellence and performance. Intel's vision for Panther Lake is clear, and the race to meet these demanding requirements has begun. Building upon this mounting pressure, the consequences for failing these rigorous standards are becoming painfully clear. Industry insiders have begun calling the alternative the participation trophy of the modern computing world. They refer to it as the generic Intel graphics label, a mark of diminished hardware potential. Much like a ribbon from a grade school track meet, this branding signals a harsh reality to consumers. It tells the buyer that while the hardware technically functions, it lacks the specialized performance pedigree. The ARC series remains the gold standard, while this new label signifies a lack of optimization. This branding war is not merely an aesthetic choice regarding logos or marketing materials for laptops. It represents a fundamental shift in how Intel manages its vast and complex global hardware ecosystem. The company is prioritizing user experience and performance consistency over the previous model of broad adoption. They are no longer willing to allow unvetted configurations to dilute the strength of their technology. By forcing OEMs to choose between high-speed memory integration or the loss of premium branding, Intel is effectively curating the entire market to eliminate persistent bottlenecks that once plagued their systems. Manufacturers now face a difficult ultimatum that will define their product lineups for the coming years. They must either invest in superior components or accept the inevitable demotion of their flagship devices. Ultimately, this creates a much clearer distinction for the average buyer navigating a crowded retail space. The ARC logo will now serve as a genuine, reliable indicator of high-tier power and speed. Meanwhile, the generic label will relegate underperforming systems to the background of the entry-level market. This strategy ensures that the consumer knows exactly what they are paying for at the register. The era of ambiguity in laptop graphics performance is coming to a swift and decisive end. Intel is reclaiming the narrative, ensuring their brand remains synonymous with excellence in the computing industry. The silicon giants are drawing a permanent line in the sand for all future hardware partners. Every laptop will now be judged by the strict bandwidth thresholds of its integrated memory modules. Those that fail to meet the mark will carry the weight of the generic label forever. It is a bold move that signals a new chapter in the history of mobile computing. OEMs must adapt quickly to these new realities, or risk losing their competitive edge in stores. The market is shifting toward a future where performance is guaranteed by the branding itself. Consumers can finally breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that the ARC label truly means quality. No longer will lackluster hardware hide behind the reputation of Intel's most powerful graphics technology innovations. The participation trophy era is over, replaced by a system that rewards only the most capable. Intel's vision for the future is one of uncompromising performance and absolute clarity for every user. This transition forces a reckoning within the supply chain, demanding higher standards for every single unit. The days of cutting corners on memory speeds are rapidly drawing to a close for all manufacturers. Intel is essentially auditing the entire laptop landscape to ensure that their name implies genuine speed. By tightening these requirements, They ensure that the ARC brand remains synonymous with high-end gaming experiences. It is a calculated strategy designed to elevate the perception of their integrated graphics solutions globally. Retailers will soon see a stark divide between premium machines and those relegated to basic tasks. This segmentation helps customers avoid the frustration of buying a laptop that cannot handle modern software. The technical requirements for Panther Lake are not just suggestions. They are the new industry baseline. OEMs that ignore these mandates will find themselves struggling to market their devices to savvy consumers. The power of the Intel brand is being leveraged to force a higher level of hardware integrity. No longer can a manufacturer slap a sticker on a machine and expect it to compete effectively. Performance metrics will now be the primary driver of consumer interest in the crowded laptop market. Intel is betting that this transparency will ultimately drive more sales toward their high-performance hardware partners. The shift away from generic labels is a direct response to years of inconsistent user experiences. By controlling the memory standard, they control the overall perception of their silicon's actual real-world capabilities. This is a masterclass in brand protection and market control within the competitive semiconductor landscape today. Every component, from the memory controller to the GPU, must now work in perfect, high-speed harmony. The days of bottlenecked systems masquerading as high-performance machines are finally coming to an end here. Intel is setting a trap for those who prioritize profit margins over the actual quality of components. It is a necessary evolution for a company looking to dominate the mobile computing space once again. The consumer wins when the hardware is forced to meet these rigorous and necessary technical standards. No longer will users have to guess if their new laptop can handle intensive creative workloads effectively. The branding will provide an immediate and accurate assessment of the machine's true underlying processing power. It is a bold, uncompromising stance that will reshape the laptop industry for the next decade. Intel is proving that they are serious about reclaiming their reputation for absolute technical and performance leadership. The participation trophy is being discarded in favor of a meritocratic approach to hardware branding standards. This ensures that the ARC name remains a badge of honor for both the manufacturer and user. The market is evolving, and Intel is leading the charge toward a more transparent and efficient future. Every laptop buyer will benefit from this newfound clarity in the complex world of mobile graphics. The era of the generic label is fading, replaced by a new standard of excellence and performance.